A major part of my life from the time I was born was music, and I always knew that that would be a very big part of who I was, a very large component. It would be something that would mold and shape me into the person that I would be one day. I had a wonderful family. I was raised in the church. I was very active, I was very energetic. I was the type of girl in high school and middle school, I joined every club that there was. When I was about 16 years old, I was walking through a mall one day, and a lady came up to me and said, "Have you ever thought about modeling?" And to make a long story short, I was eventually signed with Elite and traveled overseas. I went over to Tokyo, Japan, and all the while had that thought in the back of my mind, well, maybe I could compete in one of the local pageants in my area because I had learned that I could earn scholarship money that way. While I was at the University of South Florida, 19 years old, starting my sophomore year, that's when everything changed. All of a sudden I got a flu or got some kind of virus that just wouldn't go away. And nobody could figure out what was wrong, and I kept going to the doctor and kept going to the health services people and saying, "I need help, you've got to help me, there's something wrong." I was tired, very tired, and I thought maybe that's just normal for a college student. I was thirsty all the time and losing weight dramatically. Eventually I got so sick that my body was completely dehydrated, and I was deathly ill. And soon thereafter I was taken to the hospital, and then a few days later admitted into the emergency room. My blood sugar was over 510 when I was diagnosed.
When I received that call about her blood sugar, it was devastating.
I think it broke my heart.
We should have waited until we could have been with her to tell her that she had diabetes.
I remember crying myself to sleep because I thought my life was over. I began my insulin therapy, or my medication to treat the diabetes, with regular insulin and NPH, and I was mixing the regular and the NPH in the morning and at nighttime, and that was just really difficult for me. I still remember thinking, I can't do this, I can't do this. I hadn't grasped the concept that I could control the diabetes with the help of the insulin and the diet and the exercise and management and consulting my medical team. And once I overcame that, that's when I began to overcome and to succeed in my life. I went to doing 4 shots a day of still using NPH and regular insulin, and I stayed on that therapy, or that means of therapy, for 3 years.
In 1997, I decided finally to go on an insulin pump.
And that's when I started using Humalog, which has made a tremendous difference in my life. The reason I decided to use an insulin pump is because I had a very severe insulin reaction. No one knows why insulin reactions happen, but I was competing for Miss Virginia 2 years ago, and it was on one of the nights of the preliminaries, and maybe I was just too excited, maybe I was worked up, I don't know, but in the middle of the night, my blood sugar dropped so low that I was comatose.
Her pupils were dilated, and she wasn't able to move her extremities. After 20 minutes, or 25 minutes, we didn't see any change in her, and we were absolutely terrified. So we decided to go ahead and call 911. And in the meantime, I just picked her up off the floor. I put my arms under her arms and picked her up and held her. And I started praying because I thought I was losing my daughter. And I just asked God to please help us, that we couldn't do anything on our own, you know. And when I stopped praying, she opened her eyes and said, "Mom, does anybody know?" And I told her no, nobody knew, you know, that we were just there in the room alone. And I knew, though, that she had come out of it and we were going to be okay. She was all right. She was coming back around. So we were thankful, and being the person that she is, she went ahead and competed that night in talent, and she was absolutely awesome.
Silent music starts to play.
got through it. I competed. I placed in the top 10 that year. And right after, I had somebody come to me and say, don't ever try this again. You'll never win. You'll never be Miss Virginia because of what's wrong with you. And I said, why? I don't understand. If anybody should compete, I have a reason to compete. I have a message. I have something that people need to know about. They need to know about this disease. I'll be free. It was an interesting situation, my second try at Miss Virginia. I was 24, and the age range of eligibility to compete in the Miss America program is 18 to 24. And so I thought, oh, well, what the heck? My last year, might as well give it a shot, or I'm always gonna wonder. I had just finished my education. I just received my master's degree in journalism, and felt prepared, more prepared than I had ever felt going into the competition. And for the first time, for the very first time, I was being real. And I was being who Nicole Johnson really is, with diabetes, with no regrets, with nothing hidden.
Nicole, besides educating people about the early detection and general understanding of diabetes, what other steps will you take to fight the spread of this disease?
Well, for one, working with legislation, trying to get insurance coverage for diabetics. I think that that's something that's very important. Also, to fight the disease, education is the key. Getting out there.
I had experience in, believe it or not, controlling emotions.
That's life. That's what the people say. Riding high in April, shot down in May. But I know.
I recall seeing her top 10. Wow. Top 10. What a blessing. Top 5. Ooh, that was close. Number 5.
Each time I find myself a light on my face, I pick myself up and I get back in the race.
In just a few minutes, we'll meet the new Miss Virginia, who just might possibly be the next Miss America.
The first runner-up and winner of a $30,000 scholarship is Miss North Carolina, Kelly Bradshaw. Miss Virginia, Nicole Johnson is Miss America 1999.
It was just incredible. I had such a peace in my heart and in my mind and in my spirit that night that I knew I'd done all I could. And as I walked down the runway, I remember thinking, okay, now I'm representing everybody in this nation. But the most important group that I'm representing are the over 21 million people who have diabetes.
Life has been given to me in a way that nobody else could ever give it. I should not be sitting here before you today. Defies all odds. It really does. It's a dream come true for me. It really is. And I'm being able to do what I love, and that is share my heart and hopefully touch other people's hearts in the process.